Hey everybody, it's the Trout. Hope you're having a great day. You know, there's just some songs that make you feel good. You know, when you hear them, you just want to, maybe roll your window down, put your head out like a dog, and enjoy the ride as you listen to some great music on your car stereo or wherever you are. Headphones, it doesn't matter. It just makes you in a good mood. Well, that song by Suzi Kory is exactly what it does for me, and I hope it does for you. Suzi's got a great story, and I interviewed her today on the show because she started out over in the Middle East, moved to Canada, Toronto, when she was a kid, and decided after becoming a successful airline manager, hey, you know what? I want to become a country singer. That's exactly what she did. But as we talked, a lot of people I visit with, I don't have to make notes. I had to make a lot of notes talking to her because she has such a varied life. She has a story about Axl Rose. She has a story about starting her own festival in Toronto. She has a story about Sirius Radio. It just goes on and on. But it's fun listening to her, and I'm so glad that she took time to talk to me on this episode of The Trout Show. But before I get started with Suzi's story, a couple things. One, if you like this channel, please subscribe and like it. And number two, that's the little thing that's coming up right now. And number two, this is also available on a podcast. So wherever you are, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, you can do it there by just going to The Trout Show and listen to this episode. I think you'll enjoy it. So up next, the gal that actually works in a restaurant too. A fun lady to be around. And you know what else she is? A great songwriter and a great musician. And she is next on The Trout Show.
I always wanted to be a musician. I told my parents when, I saw Guns N' Roses when I was 13 or 14.
Axl Rose. Yep.
Yeah, Axl Rose. I was obsessed. I'm like, oh my God, that's what I want to do. That's when I knew that's what I want to do. And my parents said, there's no way in hell that's what you're going to do.
That's what all parents say. That's all. Right? They all say that. Yeah.
Yeah. I went to Plan B, which was the airlines. I love traveling. I always wanted to travel the world, and that's exactly what I did, which is fantastic. Raised my kids doing that. And then, all of a sudden a few years ago, there's the story that I met Axl. So I'm not sure if you saw it in the bio.
I did see that. Were you at a concert? It wasn't a concert.
It was my birthday, and I decided that for my birthday, I wanted to meet Axl Rose. That's all I ever wanted. And so I flew to LA. My friends thought I had lost my mind.
Okay, so let's ask this question. How old were you at the time?
I was turning 40.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it isn't like you were 18. You were, okay.
No.
Oh,
and
okay.
That's why I'm telling you. People thought, okay, she's lost it.
Yeah.
She's 40 and chasing Axl Rose, So it was my 40th, and I flew out to LA, and I found his home on Google, and I drove out there. And he was walking outside the moment that I got there.
Oh my gosh, really?
So talk about serendipity. It was meant to be. We ended up chatting. He was super nice. It was just the best possible way I could meet my biggest idol that I've adored my whole life. But, besides meeting him, which was incredible, it woke up my mind to a lot of things about how when you put something in your mind and believe that you can make it happen, you can do it.
Right.
And I went, you know what, this whole idea that I wanted to be a singer and, be in the arts, why did I never pursue that? I can do that now. And I did, because now my kids were older, they were teenagers, and I thought,
Mm,
okay, they're kind of self-sufficient. I can do this. So I was
yeah.
working at the airline full time. And then I started from zero. I didn't have any contacts in the industry. I have no musical training. I just knew that I could sing. I had never written a song, but I started writing. And, one thing led to another. And I think when you have good intentions and you know why you're doing it, and it's not for superstardom, it's because I'm doing it for the love of it,
You
and
love playing, you love
yeah,
singing.
I
Yeah.
started meeting the coolest people and hanging out. That's when I ended up, just befriending a lot of people in the industry. And it's like life would just throw me in the right circumstances, and I'd end up meeting really cool people that taught me a lot about the industry. So then I started writing. Then I got introduced to, I worked with a producer here in Toronto who's part of an
Mm,
amazing band called the Trews. But then I ended up becoming friends with my current producer, Brent Woods, who's worked with Kiss. He's toured with, Vince Neil for 10 years off and on. He's right now, he's the guitarist for Sebastian Bach from Skid Row. So, I was like, yeah, I got this rock guy. And the funny story is that I started working with him because I wanted to do rock music, and I end up doing country. So, like, what happened there?
you started the thing with the festival. I think this is what really intrigued me about you, Susie, was, and I'll go back to Axl Rose. So when you show up at somebody's house, and there comes a time, and you'll know this now, you probably already figured this out to a certain degree. When you get to a certain age, you're not a threat to people anymore. They don't
Yeah,
look at you as a threat. So if you're just
yeah,
walking, I ran into the guy that played lead guitar for Styx once. Okay, him and I are the same age. We were at the Burbank airport. He was kind of in goofy outfit, and I said, "You going back to Dallas?" He goes, "Yeah, no, I'm going to Cleveland." But we had a long conversation because you're not 18. You're not going, "Oh my God, it's Axl
yeah,
Rose," And so they just kind of tend to roll into it and go, "Okay, here's somebody that likes me. Let's have a conversation."
yeah,
So you've reached out to people. Now, what really got me was the fact, and we'll talk about this sometime later, but the fact that you got somebody from XM or Sirius to play your music, that's just incredible to me, because just getting people, because everybody goes, I want to get on a playlist. What for? I mean, a gazillion people are on playlist, and nobody, I'm exactly like you. Okay. I do music all the time, and I interview people. I do it for fun. I never expect to make any money out of it. And if I do, I got my first royalty check. It's coming in. I won't even tell you what it is. It's so small. It's just funny. So,
yeah.
but I got one. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Now I can do something that I can buy 2 cups of coffee. So, so you started this thing later in life, and then you say to yourself, okay, let's do some festivals. I mean, how do you go from did it kind of dawn on you that, hey, if I want to play, I need to have a place to play, and so I'll just start my own festival? Is that kind of what you thought?
You know what? I've always been in anything that I've done, the person who, number one, I'm not afraid to take risks,
That's obvious. I could tell that. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because that's how you get the stuff done, and you get these amazing opportunities that I'm telling you about. You have to create them for yourself, So going back to the SiriusXM thing, I was very lucky, I'm on LinkedIn, which is a professional website,
I use
right?
that all the time. I found a lot of people on LinkedIn.
A lot of artists are not on there. And I go, how can you not be on there? That's where the radio people are. That's where the, music executives are. That's where all the
Yep.
industry people are. And if you want to do this in any shape or form as a career, which
Yep.
I am doing, it's not a hobby. It is, I do it professionally. It's a business, and you have to treat it as such. And so when I started doing it, yeah, at first I was playing for free, doing all these things. I played the Whisky a Go-Go. It was a pay to play gig. So you have to buy tickets.
Yeah.
But I did it in a way that it didn't cost me anything really, because I took the tickets, gave it to the band that I hired in LA. So basically, you know what I mean? I didn't have
Yeah,
to
I know
pay.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so you work out ways that you can make it happen. It's not costing you a fortune. And I got to say my second show ever was at the Whisky a Go-Go, that I played.
How cool is that? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yes, so back to my whole point, I'm a business person. I've always been in management and companies. And so I understand how to look for the opportunities to make money. So yeah, I absolutely love music. And I told you that I got into it for the right reasons, 100%. And always everything that I do is with integrity. So the music that I write is me. I'm not writing something because I think, okay, this is going to be a hit. I just
No.
need to write a hit. I need to write what's coming from me.
Yeah.
But in terms of the business part of it, yeah, I went, okay, where's the money in this industry? Because I want some of it. Otherwise, how do I sustain this and keep going if I'm not
Yeah.
making money?
Yeah.
So I found out that you need to reach out to program directors, and that's exactly what I did. And on LinkedIn, I found the SiriusXM, country here in Canada program director, reached out to him directly. Whereas most people hire a radio tracker or
Yep.
radio, people to be able to get that.
Yeah.
I just reached out to him directly on LinkedIn, sent him the music, and he's like, this is great. And since then, I've had like 5 singles played. And I'm talking about 6 months, they'll play it for 6. So that's massive. The royalty checks on that is huge,
See,
so
it's funny because I use LinkedIn too, but I never thought about what you just got through saying because, well, I never did. And I'm like you, I write music, and I had a friend of mine, the last album I brought out, which is a year ago, a friend of mine goes, I like it, but it sounds like, how did he phrase it? Older rock or something. I said, dude, what do you expect? I'm not 18. I'm not going to write music like that. But I
yeah,
do believe there's a lot of people. It is a proven fact that more people listen to the older stuff than they do the new stuff on Spotify and everything else. So
yeah,
if I can get into a groove that people like, then it's okay. But a lot of people I've gotten on this show have been through LinkedIn because I find them on there. The
yeah,
gentleman that runs the nonprofit for Gibson Guitars, LinkedIn. I mean, I can't tell you, I probably found a dozen people on there, and I'm still reaching out to people, and I never thought about that because it's like, well, the other thing about it too, when you find somebody, a program director for Sirius XM, is the fact is you're not a threat to them. In other words, they can either, yeah, I'll send it to me, and if they like it, then they go, okay, I like it, but if I don't like it,
yeah,
who cares? It's not like you're not saying, oh, let's send it to Warner or Warner Brothers, and somebody down in the A&R department that's probably picking up trash might listen to it, you know. So what I think I don't think I know. This is the one thing. You've been a successful business person. And when young people come to me and they talk about music, I always tell them the same thing. It's the business of music. It's not music business. And so
right,
you always have to think about that. And I know because you've been around them, I know because you've been around a lot of musicians, especially younger ones, like, oh, I'm driven. I want to write my song. I want to tell the world about it. I want to make a lot. It's not going to work that way. It works because you love what you do and you have something to say that people want to hear in a story.
yeah,
So
yeah.
when did you start your first festival there? And they've all been in Toronto, I take it, because don't you have one this weekend, or are you performing at one this weekend?
I'm performing at one this
Okay.
weekend. A friend of mine does this festival called Gussapalooza, but the one that I started, the Love Revolution Country Music Festival, and it's funny
Right.
because you're talking about being a hippie. You can't see it here, but I'm wearing a necklace that's
It's a peace sign, isn't
peace sign. Yeah,
it?
and in my music video for Pretty Little Things, I rented a VW. It's on the beach in California. I don't know if you
Was it a
saw.
bus? Was it the bus or the old, or was it a
Yes,
Beetle? It's a
yeah,
bus, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and I painted it myself with like peace, love. So anyways, the festival is it's like a country, Woodstock hippie kind of thing. And it's out in the fields. It's just an hour and a half away from Toronto. So it's, on this beautiful property, a friend of mine who has this property and he allows me to use it. So I started in 2020 because everything shut down. All the festivals got canceled. There was
Right.
nothing happening, like you were saying, so I went, no, there has to be a way. So that's again that, I won't take no for an answer. If someone says you can't do this, I'm going to be like, no, I'll show you how we can do this and think of a way. So I read about the concept of drive-in festivals or drive-in concerts
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
people,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I went, wait a second, I have a whole bunch of friends in the country music industry here. I'm sure they would love to have a chance to play. So let's all get together and make this happen. So one thing led to another. And literally in 2020, in 3 weeks, I put together this festival and people were like, that's unheard of. How do you put together a festival in 3 weeks and have it be successful? We had quite a few people there. And it's just grown every year. Like this year, we got Budweiser on board as a sponsor, which was
Mm.
huge. And then,
Hmm.
we have a big country music festival here called Boots and Hearts, which is one of the biggest country music festivals in North America. And one of the artists that I had playing at my festival 2 weeks before that festival he won the big emerging artist contest. So, you know, that's kind of cool
Yeah,
because
that's yeah,
my festival is all about independent artists. So I don't
right.
have anybody who's signed to a label.
Yeah.
It's all independent artists. And then to see them have that, you know, 2 weeks later, he's playing Boots and Hearts, emerging artists, and won the whole contest. So now he's signed to Warner Music. You know, that's incredible.
Well, and you know, and here's the other thing about country music. You don't have to be 20 years old to be in country music.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And,
It's
and
not,
and you know that's you know it's not like you're right. It's not like pop. If you get to a certain age, then you know you're too old. And I mean, I was talking about Rush earlier, but look how old they are. They're the same age as me.
yeah.
So you know, and you go back and go, nobody would have hired them before. If they came out now, they go, oh, you're too old. Get off the stage. Well, look what I can do. Who cares? Everybody can do that, you know. So,
Exactly.
so what do you see now? I mean, you're doing um, the festivals. If you got, do you just do one major festival a year now, and then are you planning on doing more, or what's that in the future? Because
Yeah.
I
I
can
mean,
tell you the little wheels are rolling all the time in your head. So
oh yeah. Ideally, I mean, the whole thing about Love Revolution, it was a song that I wrote, and the song
okay,
was bringing everybody back to love and understanding that love is the answer to everything. And I know that sounds so much like a hippie, but it's so true. You know, when you have love for people, for this world, there's no way that you can do anything that hurts people or damages things. And number one, first and foremost, love yourself. You
yeah,
know, so many people don't even have love for themselves, and that's
no,
what kind of the root of all these issues that we have.
right,
And I would hope that somehow my festival can spread that message, because anybody who's been to it, the festival, sees there's a vibe there.
mm,
Really, it's just I can't explain it. There's
mm,
so much love. The artists, I have this philosophy when I create the festival where there's no headliner. So nobody's the big act on it.
right,
Everybody gets half an hour on stage. We're all exactly the same. Doesn't matter if you're playing first or you're the last on. We actually, the first year, we picked out names out of a box, you know, to
oh,
see
that's
who's
cool,
first.
yeah,
Yeah, it's just totally fair in every sense of the word, so that everybody comes there and understands nobody is more important than anybody. And I don't care how far along in your career you are or how not far along you are.
right,
And so it's changing the way people do things in the industry. That for me is the biggest part of it. You know, it's just we don't have to go with the whole how everything's been created before. You know, the idea that we're all competing against each other. The only person you have to worry about is yourself. Be your best self as a musician, and that's all you need to worry about. You know, nobody's in competition.
mm-hmm,
And so at the festival, all the musicians are hanging out. We have this green room, it's massive, you know, and we sit and we jam and in between sets before people get on stage. It's so much fun. And I want to show people that that's how it should be. And we can create that. You don't have to wait for somebody else to do that for you.
I like the concept because the other thing about it, you can put this on and people get to go hear good music because you obviously the one who decides who gets to go perform
Yeah.
without paying a ridiculous amount of money for a ticket. Because that's where the problem is now. I had a friend of mine said, "Oh, the Eagles are on the tour again. I'm going to have to take money out of my IRA to pay for my tickets." I mean, four or five, $600 for a ticket. I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay that. I mean, it's not just so I can say I saw them. I mean, what's that to me? Okay, you got, you know, you're trying to grasp something, your memories. But I think the point you're making, which is really clever, is the fact that people get 30 minutes. You sit there in your lawn chair, enjoy yourself with your friends, and you might have a band. Oh, I like this band. And next band, you're like, it's okay. But then they get exposure, which
Yes.
which is really what you're looking for, and then they
Yep.
can build their fan base.
Yeah.
I think it's a very unique. That's not why I wanted to interview, but I really like the idea because the fact is everybody has a chance. And my band a couple years ago, we have a blues festival here every year.
Yeah.
And I contacted him, I said, I want my band to play. And he goes, well, you got to play for free. And if we like you, play on this stage for 2 years, then we'll put you on this stage. And I thought, well, okay, I'll do that. But yours is like, just come and play. Send me your stuff. And if I like what you do and you actually sound like that in person,
Yeah.
then we'll do it. And I think it's a great idea.
Oh,
And
I have to say, first and foremost, there's no way in hell I'd ever have anybody play for free. And if a musician says to me, "Oh, I'll play for free," I'm telling, "No, you aren't."
I like that.
That's the other
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I first year I paid out of my own pocket. I funded the festival
Mm.
myself because it was very important for me to do it. I recouped some of the money, of course, from ticket sales and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And as you know, now the business side of me is coming in. Okay, how do I generate more from sponsorships? I created a sponsorship package, sent it out to companies. So every year it's growing and it's paying for itself. And now I'm looking at how I can generate income from it as well. So
Was that in July or June when you do it?
that
July?
was July, yeah, that I did
And,
it.
and what was the attendance? Is it just one day?
Yeah, it's just one day. So I mean, it's not a massive festival because we
No,
do
but how
it.
many people show up?
There's anywhere from 250 to 300 people.
Okay.
But if for a festival that's third year in and it's all
Oh, it's
independent.
going to keep growing. It's going to keep
Yeah,
growing.
of course. Yeah. So, I'm happy with where it's going. And the people who come this year, they come again the next, they're like, when's the next one? So
Yeah.
that goes to show you that people love what you're doing, and the concept of it. Because like you said, it's people bring their lawn chairs. You come park your car and you sit next to your car. So it's so cool. It's
Oh,
very
wow.
relaxed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Food trucks, but people can bring their own stuff too. Um, it's just so relaxed.
You're just going to keep building on this. And so what are you doing with your music now? Where's your next step with your stuff?
Well, I have a song that will be coming out next year, early next year. It's called 1975, so I'm sure you'll appreciate that. It's kind of an ode to, the music of the 70s, which in my opinion was some of the best music that came out. And I just thought it would be cool to write a song about that. So it kind of references Zeppelin and Leonard Skinner and those kind of
Yeah.
bands.
I look forward to hearing it, and I think that I just people like yourself, I love people like you because you have a lot of energy, and as in the business that you're in, not the restaurant business, but the music business you're getting into, you kind of treat it differently. You know, in other words, if crap happens to you, just go, it happens, it happens. But you figured out a way to weave in. But you know something else that's important to know? That guy from Sirius XM didn't put your music on because it sucked. It was good.
Right.
So you should be very proud of that. I mean, I'm sure you are, but you
Of
obviously
course.
have some talent there, young lady, because you wouldn't be there. They don't put stuff on, even if they go, well, I think no, they still have to have, you have to have some talent. And the
100.
other,
Yeah.
and the other thing is, I always tell people this all the time, and you just exude it completely. If you're not having fun doing what you're doing, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And everybody I've interviewed that are upbeat or moving up, and I talked about Chapel or the guys in Amsterdam, they were all positive thinkers.
Yeah.
This is so much fun. I love what I'm doing. Why am I going to stop? Just like you.
Yeah.
And you have a great, you work yourself to death. I understand that, but still, you got this restaurant that's probably pretty well known. Get to talk to people there. What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a producer for. Oh, really? What a surprise! You're on your way to doing this festival thing, but you're also, more importantly, you get your music out. And what channel is it typically your music on? Is it a country channel that they play it on, or what's the genre they call it when they play your music?
Yeah, yeah, because it's country, and there was a couple of songs like Outlaw that Sirius said no to because it's more rock than country.
Right.
So, which that's why it really is a borderline country rock. I mean, I have a song Pretty Little Things, which is so pop.
I've heard that one. I've heard that one.
Yeah, that's fun. Got a Feeling, same thing. It's a pop
Because I think
country.
isn't that the one that said, "Caution if you're a country person, this has got rock
Yes.
music."
Well, and the funny thing is, I needed a band for that video, the music video, and so my producer got me some of the guys from Puddle of Mud. I don't
Oh,
know
I
if you
know
know.
who they are. Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, and I've become friends with them. It's really cool. Dave Moreno, the drummer from Puddle of Mud, actually plays on my tracks. He's the
That's
drummer
cool.
on the tracks. Yeah, which is
Cool.
really cool. So I
Well,
have, yeah,
you've been blessed,
yeah,
and a lot of it is you have, and I'm sure a lot of it came from being in the um, corporate world.
yes,
I was in the sales management side, And so talking to people, I've been talking to people my whole life. So talking to people, interviewing them is part of this, like my gig. So, and I had one guy tell me this, and this is why I love what I'm doing. He said, watching your interviews or listening to them is like talking, it's like sitting in a cafe seeing two people talk.
Yeah.
That's really what it's about for me. And people, and I get to meet people like you. And
Well, Rick, I want to say thank you so much for reaching out, because
oh, my
I think it's
pleasure.
incredible how you search out people, and look what happened. I mean, I absolutely love you. We just met. You're so cool, and I think it's so weird.
Have a great
Okay.
day. Thanks for your time. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.